Setting clear boundaries without apology is one of the most powerful steps you can take when dealing with people who don't respect you. Many times, disrespect lingers not because you lack value, but because you haven't fully drawn the line where your value begins and ends. People will test, they will push, they will probe to see how far they can go, and if you allow it once, they'll try again. Boundaries are not walls to shut people out, but doors that control how others come in. When you create a line, you are not being harsh, you are being clear about what behavior is acceptable and what is not. And clarity is kindness, both to yourself and to others, because it leaves no room for guessing games or hidden resentment. The mistake many make is attaching an apology to their boundaries. They feel guilty for saying no. They soften their stance with long explanations, or they twist themselves into knots trying to justify why they need space or protection. But boundaries lose their power the moment you start decorating them with apologies. Saying no is enough. Saying I'm not comfortable with that is enough. You don't need to wrap it in layers of reasons to make it sound acceptable to the other person. Your comfort and your peace are reason enough. When you stop apologizing for your boundaries, you step into a place of authority over your life. It's important to remember that setting a boundary does not mean the other person will instantly accept it or respect it. In fact, some people will resist, challenge, or even mock your decision because your boundary threatens the control they once had. That resistance is not a sign that your boundary is wrong. It's confirmation that it is needed. People who benefit from you having no limits will always be the loudest when you decide to create them. Instead of shrinking back when met with pushback, recognize it as proof that you're growing stronger in protecting your peace. Boundaries also need to be communicated with confidence, not anger, not hostility, but calm certainty. When you deliver your limits with steady assurance, you leave no cracks for someone to slip through. A shaky voice or nervous laughter invites negotiation, while clear and simple language sends a stronger message than a long speech ever could. Think of it like a stop sign. A stop sign doesn't explain itself. It doesn't write an essay about why stopping is important. It simply stands firm and commands the response. Your boundaries should work the same way. Consistency is the backbone of boundaries. If you say you won't tolerate a behavior but keep allowing it, you don't actually have a boundary, you just have a wish. Respect is earned through repetition, through showing others that your lines are not suggestions, they are standards. The moment you bend your own rules to make someone else more comfortable, you teach them that your limits are negotiable. But when you stand firm, even when it feels uncomfortable, you create a new normal where your boundaries are not questioned, they're understood. You may find that enforcing boundaries feels lonely at first. Some people will walk away when they can no longer use or mistreat you in the ways they used to. Let them. Boundaries are not about keeping everyone in your life. They're about keeping the right people in your life. Those who value you will respect your limits, even if it takes time for them to adjust. Those who don't will remove themselves, and that is not your loss, it's your gain. Every no you give to disrespect clears space for a yes to something healthier, kinder, and more aligned with who you are becoming. Boundaries are not selfish. They are self-respect in action. They are proof that you believe in your own worth, that you understand your energy is valuable, and that you will not allow just anyone to misuse it. The more you practice setting them without apology, the stronger you become at protecting your peace and teaching others how to treat you. And the truth is, the people who truly belong in your life will never be lost by a boundary. They will be revealed by it. Staying calm instead of reacting is one of the strongest skills you can develop when facing people who don't respect you. Disrespect often comes as a trap. It's meant to push you into anger, to spark a reaction, to drag you down into the same low energy where the other person operates. When you lose your calm, you hand over the control of the situation to the one who disrespects you. They win twice, once by crossing your boundary and again by pulling you out of your character. But when you stay calm, you hold the power in your hands. You show them that their words or actions may shake the air around you, but they cannot shake the foundation of who you are. Calmness is not weakness. It's not silence out of fear. It is strength wrapped in composure. Think about it. Anyone can yell, anyone can snap back, anyone can hurl insults in return. That requires no control, no discipline, but to remain steady, to keep your tone measured, your body language relaxed, and your emotions balanced. That takes power. It shows that you don't need to meet disrespect at its level because you already stand on higher ground. People may underestimate calmness, but in truth, it's one of the most intimidating responses you can give. When you're calm, you also think more clearly. In the heat of reaction, words spill out that can't be taken back, actions are made that create regret, and decisions come from a place of emotion rather than wisdom. Disrespect wants you to be impulsive. Calmness gives you space. It creates a pause between the trigger and your response. In that pause, you choose how you want to represent yourself. You decide if the situation even deserves your words, or if silence will send the louder message. You create the room to respond from strength, not weakness. It's also worth remembering that calmness protects your energy. Disrespect can drain you if you constantly let it pull you into battles. Every argument, every raised voice, every defensive explanation chips away at your peace. Calmness becomes a shield. It says, I will not bleed energy into a fight that doesn't build me. I will not waste my inner balance trying to fix someone else's lack of respect. Your energy is too valuable to be poured out for the sake of proving a point to someone who never intended to hear it in the first place. Calmness guards that energy. Staying calm doesn't mean you ignore what happened or let it slide. It simply means you choose the timing and tone of your response wisely. You might decide to address the behavior firmly, but without heat, or you may choose to withdraw your attention altogether. Either way, the lack of reaction leaves the other person unsettled because they were expecting drama, and what they got instead was dignity. That imbalance shifts the control back to you. The one who keeps their calm is always the one steering the moment. There will be times when it feels impossible to stay calm, when every nerve in your body wants to explode with frustration. That's when you remind yourself that calmness is not about them, it's about you. It's about not letting their disrespect change your character, your peace, or your focus. They may disrespect you once, but when you react and lose yourself, you end up disrespecting your own values. Staying calm is protecting that self-respect. Over time, people learn from your calmness. They realize that their usual tactics no longer work on you. They may try harder for a while, but eventually they see that your calmness is not a moment. It's a pattern. It's who you are now. And when they can no longer control your reaction, they lose their power. Calmness is not just a response in the moment. It's a long-term strategy that reshapes the way people treat you and the way you see yourself. Matching words with consistent actions is where respect is truly built and maintained. Words carry weight, but without the backbone of action, they collapse under their own weakness. Many people say they won't tolerate disrespect. They make strong declarations about what they deserve, yet when the line is crossed, they allow it again and again. This creates confusion not only for the person on the other side, but also within yourself. When your actions don't back your words, you start to erode your own confidence because deep down you know you didn't follow through on the standard you set. Consistency is what turns a statement into a reality. If you say you won't accept being spoken to in a certain way, then the moment it happens, you need to show with action that you mean it. That might mean ending the conversation, refusing to engage, or stepping away altogether. If you say you value your time, then you cannot keep giving it away freely to those who disregard it. Every time you enforce your words with action, you send the message that your boundaries are real, and people eventually learn to respect what you consistently protect. The danger of not aligning words with actions is that it invites manipulation. When others see that your no can be pushed into a yes with enough pressure, they realize your limits are flexible. They learn that your boundaries are negotiable, and they begin to test how far they can push. The moment you bend your words, you teach them that your voice doesn't need to be taken seriously. And once that lesson is taught, disrespect grows even stronger because it has been rewarded by your inaction. Matching your words with actions also strengthens your self-respect. Every time you hold the line, you're proving to yourself that you are dependable. You're showing your own heart and mind that when you speak, you mean it. That self-trust is powerful because it builds confidence in your ability to protect your peace. You begin to feel more grounded, more in control, more certain that you can handle whatever comes your way. Respect from others begins with the respect you give yourself, and nothing communicates self-respect louder than consistent follow-through. This doesn't mean you have to be harsh or aggressive. Actions don't need to be dramatic to be effective. Quietly disengaging, calmly reinforcing a limit, or removing yourself from situations that don't serve you can all be strong actions. What matters most is that they match the standard you've already spoken. The alignment between your words and actions creates a pattern that others cannot ignore. Over time, it becomes clear that you are not someone who makes empty statements, but someone who means exactly what you say. When words and actions walk together, they create a solid foundation that no one can easily shake. People may not like it, they may resist it, but they will recognize it. And when they recognize it, they are forced to respond differently because your consistency leaves no room for doubt about who you are and what you stand for. Limiting access to your energy is one of the most overlooked but powerful ways to handle people who don't respect you. Not everyone deserves to have full access to your time, your emotions, or your attention. When someone consistently disrespects you, they're showing you that they don't value what you bring into their space. The mistake many people make is continuing to pour energy into those relationships, hoping that if they just explain better, try harder, or give more, the disrespect will eventually stop. But the truth is, giving more energy to someone who has already shown you disregard only leaves you drained and unprotected. Your energy is a resource, and just like money, it needs budgeting. You wouldn't hand out your wallet to someone who keeps stealing from you, so why hand out your peace of mind to someone who keeps breaking it down? Limiting access doesn't mean being cruel, it means being wise. It's choosing where your effort goes and making sure it flows to people and places that respect and appreciate it. When you start treating your energy as valuable, you naturally begin to give less of it to those who waste it. There's also freedom in stepping back. Sometimes we stay too close to people who mistreat us because we feel obligated, because they're family, co-workers, or longtime friends. But proximity doesn't equal priority. Just because someone has been in your life for years doesn't mean they deserve the same access they once had. You can still love people from a distance. You can still be kind without being available for every demand. Limiting access doesn't erase relationships. It redefines them in a healthier way. When you reduce the access someone has to your energy, they notice. At first, they may push back, question why you're quieter, why you don't respond as quickly, why you don't show up the way you used to. That discomfort is normal because they were used to you giving endlessly. But over time, your distance teaches them something important. Your presence is not to be taken for granted. People begin to realize that if they want more of your energy, they have to respect it because you no longer give it away without thought. Limiting access also gives you space to refocus on yourself. When you're not constantly fighting battles of disrespect, you have more room to invest in your growth, your goals, and your peace. You start noticing how much lighter you feel without carrying the weight of someone else's negativity. That shift in energy creates momentum in other areas of your life because you're no longer exhausted from pouring into places that only take. Protecting your energy doesn't just protect you from disrespect, it allows you to thrive. At the heart of it, limiting access is about control. You may not be able to control how others act, but you can control how close they get to your inner world. You get to decide who sits in the front row of your life and who watches from the balcony. Not everyone earns a front row seat, and when you finally accept that, you begin to experience a peace that no amount of disrespect can shake. Refusing to argue for your worth is one of the strongest positions you can take when faced with people who don't respect you. Too often, people fall into the trap of explaining, justifying, and pleading for recognition. They pour energy into proving themselves to someone who has already decided not to see their value. But the truth is, worth is not something you debate. Worth is lived. It is shown in how you carry yourself, in how you speak, in how you set boundaries, and in how you refuse to shrink for anyone who doubts you. The moment you start arguing for your worth, you place it in someone else's hands, and that is a place it never belongs. Your worth is not a subject for debate because it is not something another person can increase or decrease. It exists independently of their opinion. The way someone treats you says more about them than it ever will about you. When you stop trying to earn respect from people determined not to give it, you stop fighting battles that were never yours to begin with. You realize that you are not here to persuade someone of your value. You are here to live it boldly and let the right people recognize it on their own. When you refuse to argue for your worth, you also protect your peace of mind. Arguments drain not only your energy, but also your confidence, because every time you beg to be seen, you reinforce the false idea that your value needs external confirmation. By stepping back, you remind yourself that your value is constant, unshaken, and not up for negotiation. That belief strengthens with practice, and soon you stop reacting to disrespect at all because you've realized the truth. You don't need to fight for your worth. You need to embody it. Walking away when necessary is one of the hardest but most powerful decisions you can make when dealing with people who don't respect you. It goes against the instinct many of us have to hold on, to fix, to try one more time. But there comes a point when you realize that no amount of explaining, no amount of patience, no amount of giving will ever change someone who has no desire to change. Walking away is not about punishing the other person. It's about protecting yourself from staying where your value is constantly dismissed. Choosing to walk away requires courage because it feels final. It feels like closing a door that has been open for too long. There may be guilt, there may be fear, and there may even be voices around you telling you to endure. But the longer you stay in a space where respect is absent, the more it chips away at your peace, your confidence, and your sense of self-worth. Sometimes the strongest act of self-respect is removing yourself from what no longer honors you. People often misinterpret walking away as weakness, but in reality, it takes far more strength to let go than to stay stuck. Staying is easy because it's familiar. Walking away means stepping into the unknown, trusting that you deserve better and refusing to settle for less. That choice is not an escape, it's empowerment. It shows that you are no longer waiting for someone else to recognize your worth. You've recognized it yourself and acted on it. In the end, walking away is a statement of identity. It says you refuse to be defined by someone else's lack of respect, and you choose to create space for relationships and environments where you are valued. It is not a loss, it is a turning point, and it reminds you that the power has always been in your hands.